In the heart of the Middle East, a simmering tension boils. Iran and Israel, two nations perpetually at loggerheads, find themselves on the precipice of a potential conflict. A fragile peace hangs in the balance, threatened by the specter of war. Our story begins in the summer of 2022, as indirect talks between the United States and Iran to restore the 2015 nuclear deal end without progress. Iran edges closer to possessing the amount of enriched uranium needed for a nuclear bomb and reduces cooperation with the UN's nuclear watchdog. The failure in negotiations sets the stage for a possible escalation, with potential military actions looming on the horizon to deter Iran's nuclear capabilities. In November of the same year, despite President Joe Biden's efforts, the Iran nuclear deal teeters on the brink of collapse. Iran violates the deal's limits on uranium enrichment, stirring concerns about a possible conflict in the Middle East. The situation is complicated further by Iran's new hardline president and ongoing attacks on U.S. forces in the region. Calls for easing sanctions on Iran to facilitate negotiations are made, adding another layer of complexity to the situation. Fast forward to April of 2024. Iran's president warns that the tiniest invasion by Israel would bring a massive and harsh response. This comes after Iran launches hundreds of missiles and drones at Israel in response to an apparent Israeli strike on Iran's embassy compound in Syria. Tensions in the region have been escalating since the start of the latest Israel-Hamas war in October of the previous year, with devastating consequences. Today, the situation remains tense. Israel, with help from the United States, the United Kingdom, neighboring Jordan and other nations, has successfully intercepted nearly all the missiles and drones. However, the threat of retaliation from Israel risks escalating their shadow war with Iran. Amidst this, the United Nations appeals for $2.8 billion to help 3 million Palestinians in desperate need of food and other aid. In a bid to maintain peace, Italy's foreign minister suggests Rome would be willing to contribute troops to any possible UN peacekeeping force for Gaza. However, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu dismisses the idea, asserting that only Israel is capable of keeping the territory demilitarized. In the face of Iran's attack, Germany expresses full solidarity with Israel and calls for further sanctions on Iran. Yet, the German foreign minister also urges Israel to exercise restraint to avoid a further escalation of the conflict. In conclusion, the tension between Iran and Israel, fueled by a collapsed nuclear deal, failed negotiations, and escalating military actions, has led us to a critical juncture. The actions taken by these nations in the coming days could either defuse the situation or push the region further into conflict. As the world watches, the hope for peace remains, albeit hanging by a thread.